An awful lot of the advice for parents has to do with consequences. When to use consequences, how to use consequences, how strict you should be, how harsh they should be. You should always back up your words with actions. It's important to know how to use consequences effectively, but consequences aren't the beginning and the end of discipline. Teaching children isn't just waiting for them to misbehave and then responding with a consequence or a punishment. That's what I call reactive parenting. The problem with being reactive is that you're always one step behind the curve. Discipline is really what happens in the moments leading up to the misbehavior. Here's an example. One thing that almost every parent of a toddler has to worry about is children running into the street, into traffic. And a lot of people talk about, what do you do when that happens? Do you spank? Is it ever okay to spank? Well, I don't believe in spanking, but maybe just in this one instance because it's so important. Or other people say, no, 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 spanking would only make the problem worse. Well, we decided to try to head this off before it became an issue. So when my son was just learning how to walk, we went to a shopping plaza after the stores had closed, so there were no cars in the parking lot. We walked around on the sidewalk, we walked up to the curb, we looked. Do you see any cars coming? No. Do you think it's okay to step in the street? Okay, hold my hand. And we stepped into the street, and we practiced this a few times, and it was fun. We had a great time. Then he practiced walking to the curb by himself. He would walk to the curb, and then he would stand there and wait for me or his father to get there to hold his hand, because you have to hold somebody's hand before you can step into the street. Now, this still left us with the question of how we were going to react when, inevitably, he did run into the traffic. Only it never happened. Never. Not once. You know, this is a headstrong, active little boy, but it just never happened. Is that because of what we did? Who knows? The thing is, I've taken lots of parenting classes. I've read lots of books. I've read lots of articles. I've gone to chat rooms. I've gone to support groups. Whenever the subject of kids running into the street comes up, all anybody ever talks about is how you react after it happens. Well, you know what? After it happens, it's too late. How come nobody talks about plans like this? It wasn't really all that hard to come up with. Once we started thinking about it, I'm sure we weren't the only people in the world who could come up with this incredibly clever plan. And yet, it's not in any of the sources that I've read or listened to, because everyone's so focused on how to react. I think proactive parenting is a much more effective way to teach children.